Hello everybody, welcome to the I Am IT Geek YouTube channel. My name is Shabaz Socials. As ever, I am the IT Geek. I am back, or we are back, should I say, with a new episode of our Microsoft SC300 exam prep series. For the last couple of episodes, I've not been joined by Dwayne, but Dwayne is back with me. Hi, Dwayne.
Hey, how you doing, Shabaz?
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Excellent. Yeah, we've had a couple of scenarios this series where mainly my schedule has been a pain, so we've had to record separately. But it's nowhere near as fun. So we're back now for this episode. So we started Module 3 in the last episode. So we're in the sort of Microsoft Cloud Defender for apps topic at the moment. We've got multiple. So this is episode 2 in that topic, and also episode 2 in Module 3. So it's been a while since we kind of introduced ourselves, Dwayne. So do you want to go first? Just let everyone know. Just remind everybody who you are.
Oh, sure. Sure, Dwayne Natwick, also known as Captain Hyperscaler on my social medias. I am cloud security tech lead for Atos, global principal for that in that role, as well as a Microsoft MVP. And also have authored the Microsoft Identity and Access Administrator exam guide for PACT Publishing, of which, Shabaz, you were the technical reviewer, one of the technical reviewers for that.
I was lucky enough to work, with Dwayne on that, and that's a very important point as well around Dwayne's book. This is the topic we're covering. Dwayne's already written the book, so I can't think of anybody more ideal to partner with on this series, really. So thanks to Dwayne. I'll quickly give a re-intro to myself. So my name is Shabaz Socials, aka the IT Geek. Been working in IT for the last 15 years. I would say about 8 of those, or just over 8 of those, around cloud technologies. I'm also a Microsoft MVP in enterprise mobility. My main main interests in cloud are with Azure Virtual Desktop, which if you follow me, you'll know, and also identity and security. I've obviously all our socials are in the description if you want to get in touch with us. I'll link to Dwayne's book. I will talk about that at the end. I like to leave that till the end. Is also in the description. But without further ado, let's get cracking, as they say. So we've done the little introduction of myself and Dwayne, which I said we would do. Try to do at the start of the module. Each module. So we are into Module 3 now. You might have missed it in the last episode, Dwayne, but I've got a new picture of me.
Very nice.
And we're looking a bit more happier this time. The old wink and the gun. The old wink and the gun I thought I'd bring out for this one. So we are talking about implementing access management for applications. So that's the topic of Module 3.
I like the star instead of the cloud this time too.
Yep.
Change it up.
I change up a bit. Yep, exactly. This is the sort of topic of module 3, and we are in the second episode of that, which is covering managing and monitoring app access by using Microsoft Defender for Cloud. So this is a 3-parter, and we are part 2 into that. So we're going to cover implementing application and force restrictions. Then going to look at configuring conditional access policy app control, and I'll hand over to Dwayne to do a demo on that exact topic, okay?
Sounds good.
So let's get started with implementing application and force restrictions first of all, okay? So app and force restrictions, they're a trimmed down version of MDC, which is Microsoft Defender for Cloud app control. And you'll find you tend to use it more with sort of SharePoint Online and OWA, which is Outlook Web Access, or Exchange Online essentially. With application and force restrictions, they limit the access to files on unmanaged devices. So essentially devices that are not hybrid Azure AD joined or Intune compliant. And as with most, around identity, you do need a premium license. In this case, Azure AD Premium 1. So app and force restrictions are implemented by conditional access. So hence you need Azure AD P1 as a minimum. Obviously P2 comes with it. So let's just talk a little about configuring conditional access policy app control. So let's talk about, first I want to touch on how does it work first of all. Before we start really getting into it a bit deeper, let's talk about how it works first. So conditional access app control uses a reverse proxy architecture, and it integrates with your, in our case, it's Azure AD, but your identity provider essentially. So there are multiple conditions that you can define, including who. So is it a user or a group of users? Then what? So which cloud app do you want to do that integration with? Also where, so which locations and networks is this conditional access policy going to cover? As you've determined the conditions, you can route users to Defender for Cloud Apps, where you can protect data with your conditional access app control by applying access and session controls. You can also enable monitoring, so conditional access app control enables user app access and sessions to be monitored and controlled. The key here is it's in real time based on the access and the session policies. That real-time monitoring does make a real difference, because rather than getting alerted about something that happened 10 minutes ago, you're getting real live sort of information. And access and session policies are used within Defender for Cloud App Portal to further refine filters as well. And essentially sets of actions are then to be taken on a user. So let's look at different things you can do with these access and session policies. So the first thing is really around data exfiltration. So you can block the download, cut, copy and print a print of sensitive documents on, for example, unmanaged devices. You can reevaluate Azure AD conditional access policies when a sensitive action occurs in that session. So, for example, requiring MFA on a download of like a highly confidential file. Instead of blocking the download of sensitive documents, you can require documents to be labeled and encrypted when you integrate the Microsoft Purview information protection. Just to quickly touch on that with Purview, this is again quite a new feature. We are going to look at that it might not be in the next module, but we are going to cover that just as an addition probably. Me and Dwayne kind of spoke. We spoke about it, didn't we, at the beginning, Dwayne, and we said Purview something maybe we should cover in a few videos at the end of the sort of exam content that we cover.
It's good to know something you're going to be tested in on this exam, more so in the SC300. You'll get hit on that.
Yeah, 100%. But I think it's even though it might not be covered in this exam, I think it's still relevant, and I think we both
definitely
agreed, didn't we?
Oh yeah, definitely. And you want to learn how to protect information and access to information, and that's really ultimately what you're going to do as an identity and access administrator. So even if it's not in the test now, it probably will be in the future.
Exactly. And if we cover that, we're step of the game. So the action to protect your download ensures the document is protected and the user access is restricted in a potentially risky session. So before a sensitive file is uploaded, distributed and used by others, it's important to make sure that that sensitive file has a label defined in the organization's policy. You can ensure that unlabeled files with sensitive content are blocked from being uploaded until a user classifies that content. You can protect your environment from malware by blocking the uploaded or the uploading of potentially malicious files. Any file that is uploaded or downloaded can be scanned against sort of Microsoft's threat intelligence and blocked simultaneously and instantly. Risky users are monitored when they sign into apps, and their actions are logged from within that session. You can investigate and analyze user behavior to understand where and under what conditions session policies should be applied in the future. And you can granularly block access for specific apps and users depending on several risk factors. Give you an example, you can block them if they're using client certificates as a form of device management. So some apps have unique scenarios that carry risk. For example, sending a message with sensitive content in apps like Microsoft Teams or Slack. It's quite common to send messages maybe with, if you're in finance, you might send some account details or something like that. In these kind of scenarios, you can scan messages for sensitive content and block them in real time again. And there's that key, real time feature there. Before I do hand over to Dwayne, I just want to touch on manage device identification. So Conditional Access App Control enables you to create policies that take into account whether a user device is managed or not. So to identify the state of a device, you can configure access and session policies to check for Microsoft Intune compliant devices. So this is only available with Azure AD joined devices. Hybrid Azure AD joined devices, which is again only available with Azure AD. Also, the presence of client certificates in trusted domains. So, do they have a client certificate or not? So, a bit of a smaller theory this time. I think this is one of those topics, Dwayne, that is better explained in a lab and a demo. So, I will hand over to you, sir.
All right, thank you, Shabaz. Yeah, so couple of things. We went through this in the last demo. We went through kind of the dashboard and what you have in terms of your apps and your discovered apps within Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps. Now we have these sanctioned and unsanctioned capabilities here in terms of marking certain applications and utilizing those as compliance markings for avoid some shadow IT. But see, there's also things that we can do in here in terms of conditional access app control then to also do a level of access and data protection, as Shabaz was mentioning. So if we go to add app control, we can search here and we can see different applications we can utilize in here for our app control, some third-party applications, and we can go through that. We can also do this through conditional access policies, which I showed a little bit when we were doing conditional access, but let's just kind of review it now. We'll go, let's see, go in the back route here into security and conditional access. And then here are my policies here. If I go to create a new policy and say, let's say new app protection against downloads, and we'll select the user. If we want to select specific users and groups, maybe we're just looking to protect our administrative accounts, so we'll go ahead and do that. We look at our cloud apps here, and if we want to select an app, let's just find SharePoint here. There's SharePoint Online. We'll add that in there, and then we've got our different conditions. And here, if we I think it's in I always forget. I think it's in controls, actually. In our controls here, nope, not under controls. Where we got session controls. Sorry, it's in my session controls. And here we have then our use conditional access app control in here. And you can see we can monitor it, we can block downloads, or we can use a custom policy. And if we want to configure a custom policy, then we come back and we configure that in our Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps portal here under our policies. Not going to get into that right now. That is, I believe, the next demo for the next video. But so you can see here, if I strictly go here and say block downloads to SharePoint, we are creating a policy that is going to block any downloads of any data from SharePoint based on the session. Nothing really else that you need to do here. It's all ready to go, and then we can tie those into and then audit against what takes place within our applications. So it gives us a level of data protection and data access protection to certain things not being downloaded. So if we're looking at SharePoint activities of our administrators, we don't want that level of privileged user to be downloading files off of those applications, because it's probably some sensitive information. So if they get compromised, we might have a problem there. So we're gonna set that up, and we'll select, and you can see we can exclude certain device platforms or receive prompts, and we can do do some different setups as well. Test it as well as we've talked about in the past using what if, and make sure it's working properly, and then you're all set up setting up that session-based conditional access policy for your devices. Something I'm going to just go ahead here and do here, just to kind of I'm going to actually create this right now in audit mode or in report mode, so that we can use this policy and adjust this policy in the next demo when we do access policies for within Defender for Cloud Apps. So back to you, Shabaz.
Thank you, Dwayne. Again, really good demo there, just showing the sort of configuring an access policy control. And again, just complements what this topic is. Again, we've got one more episode in the sort of Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps area, and again, that's going to be quite demo based, as well. We've got 2 demos for you there. So there'll be less of me and more of Dwayne, which I think everyone probably prefers anyway. So again, thank you everybody for watching. We appreciate your continued support. As I mentioned, our socials are in the description. The most important thing, Dwayne's book. There's a link to Dwayne's book in the description on Amazon. It'd be great if you get that book and follow it as we're going along. And it's a good combination to get you that exam pass. So definitely strongly recommend it. Also, a link to the GitHub labs as well, so you can follow along with Dwayne.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody. It seems to be quite a new set of purchases for my book. So I want to thank everybody that obviously has been taking Shabaz's advice during these sessions to purchase the book, because I've seen a definite upswing in the purchases of the book over the last couple weeks since this series started. So thank you everybody that hopefully has gotten the book in their hands and now is following along, and everybody else that might be purchasing it after this video. I want to thank everybody. I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, it's a great book, like I said. It's got my technical stamp of approval. So
that's Shabaz's technical stamp of approval, which is all I need.
Oh no, that's amazing news, and yeah, again, so thank you to everybody who's watching for buying that. It is a great book, and I think it'll complement this video series really well. So yeah, great news. That's really good news, Dwayne. So yeah, we'll see you in the next episode. So thank you, and until next time, goodbye.
Thanks, everybody.